Hare Krishna, with the Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 3rd chapter and 20th verse. Signa smitavalokena vacha piyusha kalpaya charitre navadhyena charitre nanavadhyena Sriniketena chatmana. He was there in a transcendental body, the residence of the god of the fortune, his usual gentle and sweetly smiling face in nectarian words and his flawless character. So this is very beautiful. This is Lord Krishna is life in Dwaraka. Uddhava is describing the whole life of Krishna in brief. To whom? Whom is telling? Vidura. Explaining to Vidura. Another great devotee who likes to hear Krishna Leela devotee. And Uddhava is, and Vidura is relishing hearing the pastimes of Krishna. And he's pointing out a very interesting feature. That Krishna, even though he is handling 16,000 wives, it is said that his wives are so beautiful, that even Cupid will faint if he sees them. They're all Lakshmis. Like we have Madanateya in Vrindavan, here also we can say Madanateya. If Cupid comes to Dwaraka, there also he will faint, because so beautiful. So beautiful is the queens of Dwaraka. But we see that Krishna is not at all attracted to them. It's totally transcendent. So even we can handle material energy according to the capacity. Okay? As we develop our capacity, we can handle material energy. As our capacity improves, more we can handle. Krishna is the leader. The material energy is totally under his control. He creates such a vast, beautiful creation. Even material world is such a beautiful creation. Krishna is not at all interested in it. Totally detached. Like you make a factory, you'll be very attached. I made that factory. Krishna is totally detached. He sometimes comes to this factory, to the material world, and he plays a role. Krishna is playing the role of a husband, but is not attracted to any one of the wives. He's totally detached. Okay? This wonderful feature of Krishna is being discussed here in the pages of Bhagavatam. And it is being analyzed here that the point is that there are two energies of the Lord, internal energy and the external energy. And the Lord is very intimately associated with the internal energy. But external energy keeps away. Internal energy creates wonderful loving pastimes of the Lord. And in external energy, it's totally different. A different picture altogether. External energy is for reformation. Just like king will not stay in the jail. King will stay in a palace. But he sometimes comes to visit. Therefore Kubja, that famous pastime, is there because of that. Kubja refers the Bhu Shakti of the Lord. So Krishna, when he straightens it up, actually Krishna is indicating to Kubja that I come to straighten the material world. And then she requests that please stay with me. He doesn't stay long, maybe 1 or 2 nights. Actually it is his wife only. Sometimes this pastime, why does Krishna stay with Kubja? But the point is that it is his wife only. It is the incarnation of Bhu Shakti of the Lord. But Krishna doesn't stay long with the material energy, therefore he doesn't stay with her long. Like with the queens of Dwaraka, he stays long. They are the residents of this, or they are now eternal estates of the spiritual world. Either directly they come from the spiritual world, or they have by their millions and births of tapasya. Not ordinary to become wife of Krishna. You need to do tapasya for billions of births. So we should not think it is, sometimes we think, okay, we are holding a bag, we are chanting Hare Krishna, I'll become wife of Krishna. Don't think it's a joke. It requires millions of births of tapasya. I don't think it's a small thing. What do you say? It's not small. It requires tremendous years of births of seriousness and purification. Where there is a purification is the exercise of our spiritual muscles. Just like you want to lift 100 kilo, you can't do that. You will break your back, you will get pain. Say 150, you'll be real trouble usually. Correct? 200, 300 is what they lift in the championship? 300? Huh? How much? 1000? But they don't lift 1000 kilos. Huh? How much they lift in this people? Chalo, whatever it is. Whatever it is. Now say, I do not know. I was thinking it is around 300 they lift. Say we take his instance 900. Chalo. If you are in error, you are problem. So now can you do first day, start away? No. You have to exercise. Correct? Exercise your muscles. Gradually you develop. So similarly, there are mental muscles. They also develop, if you are going to court, you are a lawyer, and you're going to police station, your mental muscles become very strong. The judges, the lawyers, their mental muscles, the policemen are very strong. They don't get shaken up by emotions, Even to some extent, doctors also, mental muscles become strong because in front of you death occurs and patients reel and cry. A normal man will break down. Your mental muscles become strong. You see that even in the sense that we see blood and stool, you don't vomit. Your mental muscles are, it's psychological, no? Nothing physical happens when you see blood or stool. It's psychological. We feel nausea. That's psychological. So over your training of 10 years at least, they make your mental muscles strong, You can deal with the patient with all the problem. Otherwise you can't. They make your mental muscles strong. So mental muscles also exercise. Particularly people go to police station and there every day they're beating up criminals. Their mental muscles become very strong. Mind becomes very correct. Emotionally, they become very strong. They can deal very easily with people in problem. What do you say, Mataji? They become real tough. They're not easily break down and all. No? They need to do. The judge, imagine, he's saying death penalty. Whole family is crying there. Nothing happens to him. He's peaceful. True, he knows it is a justice of peace. Only for the good of the society I'm giving it death penalty. That's okay. But what's the result? The families are going to cry there. The mob is maybe shout at him. He's fixed. So he makes his mind strong. Correct? Now, And a policeman also, he has to deal with criminals and sometimes he has to beat them up. His mental muscles become very strong. I have a good experience with that. They become very tough. And it is useful in life to have good physical muscles, useful to have good mental muscles. But a devotee, he more than physical the mental muscles, he has spiritual muscles which he exercises. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Always remember Krishna, never. This is your exercise going on. Never forget me, don't, some distraction, always put on the mind on Krishna. This is what we have to exercise. So now, your integrity, when it becomes high on that, you're always thinking of Krishna. Your integrity is higher and higher and higher. Then it's a different issue altogether. Then you can get privileged to be wife of Krishna. Correct? When you look at Radharani, eyes are fixed on Krishna with a love. And we know when we read Gopi Geets, how love they have, intense love for Krishna. Can't even imagine that fortune. And Krishna keeps congratulating them for their love for him. It doesn't say you become mad. Krishna say, all fortune, all good fortune. You have so much love for me. Take care. Yeah, I cannot repay. So this is, we should appreciate. This is the standard of love of Krishna. So to develop that, we need to enhance our integrity. More and more Krishna can trust us. Because Krishna has given the mind to think about him only. Just like we discussed this million times. You get a car from the office. For what purpose? For office job, not for your personal job. But you use for personal job, that's your problem, not government problem. So similarly, we get mind to think about the Lord, but we do not use it. That's our problem. Correct? That's not Krishna's problem. We don't have Krishna to blame. It's we are ourselves to blame. We are not using this mind to think about Krishna. Okay? That is what the mind should do. Be focused on thinking about Krishna. So then, now when you're trying to do, there is exercise going on that. Therefore, one side comes sadhana, other side comes strictly following 4 regulative principles. Sadhana means we get up for Mangalarti, we sit down, chant our rounds. Okay? We organize our life in such a way that we do not miss out the opportunity we have got. We got a rare opportunity. Labdava Sudhullabham. Very rare to get that opportunity to become a devotee of Krishna. Very rare. So we exercise. What did they say? Ha hanta hanta vishvakshanam asadu. The society there is only making us to commit suicide, spiritual suicide. Because what the society will ask, now, sandarshanam vishayanam, they always ask us to meditate on sense objects. That's what the society is doing. And they make the material world very attractive. We meet people who are enchanted. Society means people who are enchanted. And what they do for that. And imagine this thing. Well, I was reading on Prabhupada's conversation. He says, people should know that they should make an effort to organize Mangalarti. They don't know that. They make effort to organize a cricket stadium. How much lakhs of crores are spent on cricket stadiums, all that telecast, isn't it? And how much happiness is there? There is suffering only, no happiness actually. Happiness doesn't. For suffering they make so much elaborate enjoyment. Or so called their happiness, which is actually suffering. There is no happiness in this world. We should be convinced. But they make so elaborate. Isn't it mad? You're making elaborate arrangement for suffering. What do you say? You think person is mad or not? You say, I'm coming to slap you, and you make elaborate arrangement. You lie on the bed and here you slap like this. Mad. People make arrangement for happiness. But these fools, they think they're making arrangement for happiness, but actually they're making arrangement for suffering, and they spend lakhs and crores and paramudvato vimudha. So much anxiety to suffer. So much anxiety. For their so-called illusory happiness, they make so many big plans for that flickering happiness which does not satisfy, which does not exist, actually is suffering. Whatever, they make so much elaborate plans and enjoyment. But instead they should be making plans for Mangalarti. Yeah, society should make a plan. Grand plan. All the people. Just like king in Jaipur. He made a beautiful temple and he made whole city should come. You saw Mangalarti? Whole city is there. So, and they are still attached to the temple. In fact, that is the humble reason why I named the deity Radha Govindji. I thought the temple will become like that. Whole city will come. Will come, we will not leave it. But little if we put our intelligence, that we can do things faster. That's why in ISKCON we discuss nowadays strategic planning. In the sense, strategic planning, you try to understand, when Prabhupada came to America, he did not do preaching in the beginning. When he landed up, he was trying to preach, but at the same time he was going around. Prabhupada used to just buy for the day ticket and sit in the bus and just travel. Just watch the people, how they are talking, what do they behave. You have to first know the market before you launch a product. You know, message is same, but how he is going to present it, he is watching the people. He is an acharya. He is going down the street, he is watching people, he is seeing their talking, he is seeing their behavior, and the people are interacting with him, he is seeing that, and he is now, package is getting ready. So similarly, we should also strategize how we are going to present, what we are going to present to the society. Isn't it, Mataji? It is not, knowing is good enough, not enough. We should know how to teach. Then there is a need. We know if people take to Krishna consciousness, first thing we should know, we should be convinced people are suffering. First thing we should be convinced. If we are not convinced of that, we should not preach. Why preach? Sometimes what happens, if people are more happy than us, then we don't preach. Rather we take their blessings. Please bless me. because you go to people. That's why I was talking to somebody. He said, no, I don't like to send my brahmacharis for fundraising. I said, why? I've seen all they get spoiled. I said, no, you go. Why talking about your brahmacharis? Because it is true. In the society, the success means money and power. And the neophyte brahmachari goes and associate with such people and that atmosphere, he will also start feeling this is success of life. To have big car, to have big house, because that's what he is meeting every day. And he's searching for such people. Oh, he's very successful, he's very powerful. Oh, then finished. His spiritual life is finished. Correct? So the devotee, moment he understands this is success, his spiritual life is over. So coming back to here, so Vidura is come to Uddhava now. Uddhava is narrating the Krishna's pastime, and Vidura is fortunate to hear from the mouth of Vidura, who loves Krishna. What more fortune you need? And is hearing from Uddhava about how Krishna was totally transcendental. Even though he was with the most beautiful beauties of those times, 16,000 wives. Even he behaved with them as henpecked husband. He behaved like that. But he had no attraction to any one of them. Zero attraction. Correct? Krishna had no attraction. He was totally transcendental to that situation. Okay. So this is the uniqueness. So as we practice Krishna consciousness, we wash our body. There are no sinful activities. The body is pure now. Mind is washed. We don't think about sense gratification. Now there is soul. And voluntarily the soul is exercising its desire to serve Krishna. Correct? Te dvandva moha nirmuktam. You cannot serve Krishna if you're still material world attractive. Material world attractive means something is bad, something is good, something is pleasurable, something is unpleasurable, something is honorable, something is dishonorable. Devotee is beyond all kind of dvandas. Te dvandva moha nirmuktam. It's totally detached from the material world. It is hot or it is cold. He is not interested in that. Dvandva moha nirmuktam bhajante mam dhridavrata. With full determination now he serves Krishna. Now he full, because he is free from any kind of dvanda. Now he full energy, he serves Krishna. So this is very much needed for a devotee to develop this attitude where he is free from dvanda. Krishna is, in fact, if you keep meditating how Krishna is transcendental, you become transcendental. Isn't it true? They say that? Janva karma chame divyam. What are you doing? You are meditating how Krishna was transcendental even though he was doing so many activities. Metal energy that doesn't touch him. Janma karma going on, but Krishna is in his transcendental situation. So meditating on that, you also become transcendental. Correct? See, just like you read Bhagavatam. This whole book, all the narration is narration in Yogamaya. Pure, spotless. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says spotless Purana. There is no metal energy here. No dharma, artha, kam, moksha. Nothing is glorified here. Only Krishna Prema is glorified. So this is all books full of Krishna Prema. All under domain of Yogamaya. Only love of Krishna is packed here. Just like Kamadhenu of the spiritual world, or Surabhi of the spiritual world. The milk, only reason you drink milk, it is full of love of Krishna. So this is also full of love, like milk. Surabhi's milk it is. You can keep drinking. And so nectarian. That is the opportunity we have. But in case, unfortunately, I remember when I was coming in the train, I was reading Bhagavatam, and another person was there next to me. Whole time he watched a movie. That is Mahamaya, this is Yogamaya. I was just thinking, where he will go. See? No satisfaction on top of it. You're never satisfied. Here you're feeling so blissful, so nectarian. Here no satisfaction. Okay? Puna charvita charvananam, chewing what is chewed is gone. And here we are relishing. So Prabhupada said, if you so like, we can make a decision. Anyway, one life we will surrender. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan prapandete. Better is surrender now. Why delay? We don't know what is going to happen. So many lifetimes, what is going to happen, we do not know. Why not totally surrender to Krishna now? Anna, what do you say? This life, why delay? When there is an opportunity, why delay? Why delay? So this is the beautiful narration of Bhagavatam. We are getting an opportunity to peak, because spiritual world, there is no business. There is only love and gratitude. This is a beautiful world. Anna? Even the Vedic time, the Guru Shishya was also like that, love and gratitude, correct? Not like today colleges, this much fees you have to give, nothing like that. Another world, transcendental world, so pure world. So here Krishna's pastimes of Dwarka are being meditated on by Uddhava, that Krishna was with thousands of queens, not at all attractive. And totally situated in Sankhya philosophy, not the atheist Sankhya. Krishna, therefore we should try to see through Krishna. Don't try to see yourself. Because with our eyes are colored now. We can't see, just like if you put color in your eyes, you see the world wrong, red, blue and all, correct? But if you see through Krishna's eyes, there is no Maya in that. Maya cannot touch him. So you see perfectly. So in this way, if we can see through Krishna's eyes, because Krishna is situated in the real Sankhya philosophy of Kapila, son of Devahuti. You see, Prabhupada was so careful. He took out 3 books out of Bhagavatam, as I know, 4. One is Light of Bhagavata, which is another beautiful composition. Other one, 5, is Krishna, which is a beautiful composition. Best one we can say is the Krishna book. Then Queen Kunti, which is also amazing because we can enjoy the pastimes. And then the last, Teachings of Lord Kapila, son of Devahuti. Why? You see, he had a reason for that. Why did he use the key teachings of Lord Kapila? Because there is a Kapila very popular. See, he didn't have to do that. He wrote Bhagavatam. Why separately one book? Because this has to be known to public that Kapila Muni is son of Devahuti and he is talking about pure devotion. What Kapila Muni public, most of the this impersonalists are talking about the Sankhya is from an atheist. He is not the real Kapila, he is the imposter. People do not know that. Therefore, Prabhupada see, why did he have to write that book? Why the title? Teachings of Lord Kapila, son of Devahuti. Because knowing that this is real Kapila. He didn't have to do that. You understood? Queen Kunti prayers, the sweetest of prayers. He chose that and he made a separate book. He chose. Imagine situated blissfully. He's thinking which all books to write from Bhagavatam, extracts from Bhagavatam. And we can see few extracts he made from Bhagavatam. And each was with a great purpose. Krishna book, because he knew this is needed. If he doesn't live to complete the book, then how the devotees will read about Krishna Leela. Just imagine, had it not been there, this book would have been in great trouble. Authorized explanation of Krishna Leela is available today. What do you say? Otherwise there is so much discussion. Maybe Krishna did for this, Krishna did for this, and we don't know which one is true. One meeting after another meeting will never be resolved. I tell you, here it was clear, black and white. And when Prabhupada writes, after that there is no discussion on it. It's clear. Not that it's dogmatic. He has written. It's clear. Made crystal floodlight on all Krishna pastime. We can imagine Ras Leela, how nicely Prabhupada explains. So he did that. But he wrote Teachings of Lord Kapila, son of Devahuti. Why? To clarify to public that actually this is real Kapila, not that other one. Huh? And that is real Sankhya. That is real Sankhya. And Krishna is situated always in real Sankhya. He is always situated in full, proper understanding of this world. Totally detached from the other elements of Sankhya. Means the body, the mind, all the elements, senses, sense objects. Krishna is totally transcendental to that.